Hi everyone, Rory at Clawden Painting Studio here, and I'm kicking off my American War of Independence project. We're going to build some militia for the continental side, and I'm going to start with the Perry Miniatures plastic Continental Infantry box, with a couple of little additions from the British box for the same period, but also the British Napoleonic box in order to make some troops who are rapidly getting into a firing line. So this is the sprue from the Continental box. One of three designs in the box. This gives us 5 figures. The other 2 sprues, there's a command sprue, and there's a smaller sprue with 2 figures on it that has people wearing hunting shirts and carrying rifles if you want to make some skirmishers, but also with a musket option if you just want to include them to mix up the uniforms. I'm going to be making militia, which means that when it comes to painting, I'm going to ignore some of the cuff designs and facings. But the thing that's really useful about this kit for making militia is that there is a nice number of arms sort of casually marching along with a musket, and that musket has no bayonet as well. I have seen some debate online about whether militia would have had bayonets, but I like to, as a visual distinction, at least on the tabletop, to go no bayonets for militia models. You've got some hat options, you've got some more civilian floppy hats, caps, and some cocked hats as well. There's options like packs as well, which probably fit the more sort of regular soldier. I won't be using any of them. So I've cut the guy off the sprue. I've stuck one of the sort of civilian floppy hats on him. He's wearing some sort of woolen overall, perhaps covering his breeches and gaiters underneath. There is one detail in the model you might want to chop away, which is the bayonet sheath poking out here. It could be a hatchet or another civilian tool, so I'm quite happy to leave it where it is. But if you really wanted to make the distinction that there was no chance of bayonets in your models, you could chop that off. I've added some plastic glue to the shoulders, and we'll pop on the musket. The one thing that this kit has is that some arms are carrying weapons in the right arm with left hand empty, and the others, particularly sort of the more regulation marching, are carrying the musket in the left arm. So just watch out when you're chopping arms off the sprue that you get the correct one. Yep, I've already made that mistake putting these together today, so I thought it was worthwhile pointing out. Now, what about British Napoleonic Arms? How can they work on the models? So, the British Napoleonics box, they're in a firing line rather than being in march attack like a lot of historical kits. So it's an option for a bit of variety, and with a couple of adaptations to the arms we can make them work for the Continental Militia. My goodness, my cutting board looks absolutely horrific. I think I need a new one. Anyhow, first things first, let's get the bayonet off there. Now I might be losing a millimetre of the musket barrel. I'm not too concerned for how that looks. The other thing that we're going to need to get rid of is the lacing from the cuff, and also the woolen tuft on the shoulder. Take that off just with a sharp knife. And same with the cuff as well. Okay, here's a chance to look at the built models. The one downside, I think, perhaps, of the models being in a march attack pose, that it doesn't look for a very realistic firing line. But as I said earlier, perhaps we can imagine this militia is hurriedly redeploying in the face of the British line wheeling about. The original inspiration for doing this conversion actually came from the Perrys themselves. If you look on their Facebook page back in, I think it was 2018, they converted a bunch of their plastic Continental line into Militia as they needed some more for a Concord and Lexington game. I think the conversion works fairly well. It's a little bit involved in terms of the cutting that needs to be done. And, you know, the finish on the arms is not the best. With some putty, some cuffs could be resculpted. But I feel it's a bit too much effort for what I want to achieve. I have based these models on pennies. I'm going to be playing Sharp Practice primarily with them. But they could always be used in a big battle game like Black Powder in some Sabot trays. As far as painting goes, I will probably see how the Vallejo Express colours work on them. And where colours aren't available in that range, I've got Citadel Contrast to fall back on. Hopefully I have another video on the painting soon. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and I will speak to you all soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.